What I would like to talk with you about today is something really important about ways that we can be safe at school. So being safe at school is super important, right? Yeah. So tell me some ways that you can think of that we practice safety at school. What are some things that we do to stay safe from danger? We have to practice so that we know what to do in an emergency. So what's one thing that you remember us practicing before at school?
If we have a real fire drill.
I'm glad you brought that up. So a fire drill is something that we do for practice in case there's a real fire, so that we know what to do if there's ever a real fire. Now, there's another kind of drill that we've done before that we practice, and if you remember the name of that drill, you can raise your hand.
Run, hide, fight.
Run, hide, fight, exactly. You remember when we practiced run, hide, fight. Now, a lockdown might happen when we have to stay in the school and lock all the doors, lock all the windows, and turn off the lights and stay safe in case there's a stranger in the school. You've heard me talk about an unsafe person or a bad guy. Now, my question is, how do we know if there is a bad guy that is inside the school or a person that is not supposed to be here? What are some things that we might be looking for to know that there's someone unsafe around?
Because they won't have the thing that you have on around their neck.
Exactly. So you notice that teachers or employees that are supposed to be here, or maybe even parent volunteers, have a badge that they wear. And it might, yeah, you're right. I see Sophia pointing up here. It might be a sticker that says visitor. So you know that that might be a safe person that can be here. What might be something else? How do we know if it's a person that doesn't belong in the school and it could be someone unsafe?
Because they have weapons.
Oh, you might see a weapon. Absolutely, yeah. What would you do in that situation? I'm curious. What would you do, Dylan?
A teacher, and then the teachers know, so we should hide in something.
So you would tell a teacher right away. Let's say you're at the bathroom, or you're out at recess, or maybe you're just walking to the office and you're by yourself and you see something that doesn't quite look right. First, you want to stay calm. You take a deep breath. Let's practice. You take a deep breath and then you have to think. Sometimes when you take a breath, it helps you to calm down and think about what you should do. So it might be good to say, I think I need to go get someone for help because I'm not sure this is a person that belongs in our school. And getting a teacher or another adult, someone that has a badge, and you can ask them, I think I saw someone over there that doesn't look like a safe person. I want to go through the 3 different steps. We talked about, I heard at the beginning, run, hide, fight. So we're going to talk about those 3 things specifically because I think now we've decided what to do if we see that there's a bad guy in the school or a person that isn't safe, and we know that we have to get help right away. Tell a teacher, someone that works here, and to be a really good listener, and they'll give you some instructions about what to do, okay? First of all, run is always gonna be the first thing, okay? It might be that we're out at recess playing, and there might be a stranger or a bad guy out on the playground. And if that happens, what would we do? What would we do if you were out at the playground and a teacher outside told you that there's somebody unsafe on the playground? What do you think we would do in that situation? Dylan?
Run.
Run? Where would you run? What do you think?
To the bank across the street over there.
Oh, so you're talking about the place that we've decided together as a class that we would go. Right, so if they say outside, there's a stranger, we need to run, you know our meeting spot. And so every class will have a meeting spot that they discuss together where they'll run to get to a safe place, right? Is it possible, though, that maybe you're out at recess and maybe there's a bad guy or an unsafe person inside the school while you're outside? What would we do in that situation? Would we want to go back in the building if there's a dangerous person? No. So the best thing to do is really to find a teacher and to listen for their instruction. Listening is really important in this situation because you need to know what to do. Let's say we're in the classroom and we're not out at recess anymore. We're in the classroom and we hear that there might be somebody like a bad guy inside the school. What would we do in that situation? Would we line up and walk like we do for a fire drill? Or do you think we'd want to get out very quickly?
Run.
Yeah, this would be the one time it's okay to run because if I say, kids, we've got to run, this is the time where we get up and we run as fast as we can, and we go towards the door and get out as fast as we can. Should we stop and like get our coats and backpacks?
No.
Why do we not stop and get our things that belong to us?
We will be quick, and then but we will stay in there, and then they can catch us.
Right, so you're saying our safety is much more important than taking our backpack and our coat, because we might not have a lot of time, okay? We talked about if we were at the playground, we might have to run if there's a dangerous person on the playground, or maybe there's a dangerous person somewhere in our school, but they're not really near our class. Maybe they're down the hall, or maybe they're in the office, and we have found out that they're in our school and we got to get out of the school. We don't want to stay here if he's in the building, right? So that would be a time where you might hear me say, kids, we have to run. And if I say that, you know what to do, right? We don't have to get our things. We don't have to worry about the hallway rules. We get out quickly and we run to the safe spot that we decided together. And we go open the door and we go in and say, we need help. And they would help us. You find a safe adult and you find other kids from our school or maybe another teacher, right? And you stay there until someone can tell you what to do, okay? That's great. You might even have to hide somewhere over by the bank until you see somebody that's safe. Now let's talk about the second one, which is hide. Hide is always the second one because sometimes it might not be safe to run. There might be a situation where we can't run because maybe that bad guy is really close to our room. Let's say we notice that they're in the hallway right outside of our door. That probably wouldn't be safe for us to open the door and start running, right? So if you're not sure, who should you listen to or look to give you instructions? Yeah, I see you pointing at me. Or if you're with another teacher like Miss B, or maybe you might be in PE, or you might be in music, whatever.
Or it might be with Miss Jackson.
Exactly. Whatever teacher you're with, whatever part of the day you're with, that person is going to keep you safe. Their job is to make sure that you're safe. So you have to stop and listen and let them tell you if it's a situation where you have to run, or they might say, we can't run, we have to hide now. Let's talk about what that means. What would we have to do if we're gonna hide in the classroom? Now remember, we're hiding because it's not safe to run out of the room. If we're gonna hide, that tells me we don't want a bad guy to know that we're in here. We're gonna have to be really quiet. That means no talking. Yeah, no talking at all, right? So if somebody next to you is talking, what would you do if the kid next to you is talking to you and they're bothering you? How would you handle that? That would be tough, right? If you had to be so silent because we're in a hiding place, what would you do? Yeah, you could just give them a signal without your voice, right? Because this is our safety. You know, you could be a really good friend to them and try to help them very quietly to calm down, right? And I also heard Mara talk about turning off the lights, right? We're going to turn off the light because we don't want the bad guy to think anybody's in here. We want them to think it's lights are out, no one's here, right? There might be another thing we might do. We might also have to do something called create a barricade, which is we're going to push some stuff up against the door. Have you heard of that word barricade before?
It might be by the door, so we have to push stuff against the door so you can't get in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some jobs that teachers have too that you don't have to worry about, right? I'm going to lock the door, I'm going to turn off the light, and I'm going to say to you, get in your hiding spot. And if you ever hear me say, get in your hiding spot, you're going to do it right away. It doesn't matter what you're doing in the class. You should stop and you should go to that spot and be so quiet. And I will make sure the door is locked. Now, if you're a student that's near the door, I might actually ask you to help me. I might say, we need to push something heavy up against the door to create a barricade, okay? And so if I ask you to help me and I say, help me, let's push these desks, then you'll say, okay, Miss Nash, and we'll push them up and then we'll go to our hiding spot. What would be a heavy thing that we might push up against the door?
We can use all of these and push them up there.
Yeah, we can maybe put a chair or the couch. Yeah, you guys have great ideas. So I think we know it's going to be something heavy, not like our marker basket, right? That's not going to work very well, right? I'm wondering, what would you do? You're not in the classroom, you're not with another teacher, but maybe you're on the way to the bathroom. You're all by yourself, and you might hear an announcement that says, run, hide, fight, or you might hear our principal on the intercom. Or maybe you hear a noise that sounds like a weapon or somebody yelling or screaming, and it scares you and you think this seems like a dangerous situation. Or maybe you see a bad guy and you're all by yourself in the hallway, okay? What would you do in that situation? You're all by yourself and you notice that other teachers are closing their doors and they're locking them, or maybe kids are running out, but you're all by yourself.
If all the close their door except one of the first graders, you can go in there and
That should be number one. If you see that someone still has their door open, you should run in there. And it's okay if you're not with our class. It's okay to be with another class, right? As long as you're with people that you know belong in our school, they'll help keep you safe, okay? But let's say that there is no way to go into another class because the doors are shut and they're locked, or there's just nobody else in here and you don't know what to do. If you see a door that goes to the outside, even if it's to the playground, open up the door and run out, and you can hide somewhere on the playground, okay? So you're gonna hide, and how would you know if it's safe to come out of that hiding spot? If there is a dangerous situation going on at our school, that a police officer might come into the building, or our principal might come onto the intercom speaker and they might say, all clear, or you can come out now, right? And so if it's a person that is coming into the spot where you're hiding and they're saying, I'm a police officer, how do you know if they're really a police officer? Yeah. Of course, you know they're going to be in a uniform, they're going to have a badge. So if it's not a person with a uniform and a badge and they're saying, yeah, come on out, then you obviously know it's not really a police officer and you should stay hiding in your spot. Just stay in your hiding spot, and somebody that is in charge, whether it's a police officer or a principal or someone else like Mr. Bayer, who is our superintendent of our school district, somebody will come on to the intercom and they'll say, okay, it's time to come out now. You can come out. The school is safe. So let's talk about the last one, the fight. Now, the fight is always going to be the last option. We hope we never have to do that. And I really hope that would never have to happen. But you never know, right? So what would be a situation where we might actually have to fight? Can you think of something you might say, yeah, we might have to fight?
Still might break a door and all the stuff falls down.
There might be a situation where if a bad guy was coming into the classroom, we can't just sit there and hide anymore. We might actually have to fight, right? So we're kids. How are we going to fight? You guys are kids. How are you going to fight? What could you do to stay safe, to fight? Because there's a lot of us, right? If we all come together, we might be able to do something to protect ourselves.
Get this tables or chairs and throw it at them.
Oh, so you're saying we could like get something heavy and throw it at them, and then hopefully that'll buy us some time either to call the police or to get out quickly. Get something heavy, use it to protect yourself. We might have to throw it, right? Right, and our goal is to throw it to get out of the room. We want to get away from the bad guy. So if we can throw it and run, and where would we go? That's right. You knew what to do, exactly. So you throw something, you get it to protect yourself, and if you can, you run past them out the door and you go to that spot. You don't have to wait for everybody else. You just go, right? We don't have time to stay and stand in the hall and wait, because this is a time where we all have to just go as quick as we can, okay? Everyone understand? Yeah. Wow, I am so proud of you guys. I think you guys really know what to do. I hope we will never have to do any of those things. But if there's ever a real emergency, we now know that the first step is
To run.
run. And what's the second?
Hide.
We might have to hide. And then the last option, but it might happen, we would have to fight. Schools are a very safe place to be. You're safe here. But every once in a while, you never know. There might be a situation where emergency does come up. And in that situation, we will have to be good listeners, and we might have to do one of those three things. So good job. I'm proud of you guys. Kids, there's a dangerous person in our hallway. We need to hide. Get to your hiding spots quickly. Go.